Welcome everyone to this week's video. Today we are on Fish Friday number 187 and we have a good one for you today. Today's fish is one of those fish that most people know about in the aquarium trade. This is definitely not an uncommon fish, but it is a little lesser known for people that may not know too much about fish or may not actually have much experience in the aquarium trade. But today's fish that we're going to be talking about is, the kissing gourami. Now, the kissing gourami, or scientific name, Helostoma teminskii, I think. Minskii. The final word is difficult for me to pronounce. I believe its name derives from a Dutch ichthyologist, but Helostoma teminskii. We'll go with that. Probably saying it wrong. Just be aware of that. It is part of the family Helostomatidae, which is interesting because it's the only species in the family. Now, we've talked about gouramis on the channel before, and gouramis are a very well known and very popular fish, and there are numerous different species of gourami. So when I did kissing gourami, I thought it was going to be with the rest of the gouramis. It turns out that it is actually not. Sorry, I have a cat for some reason. But no, it is actually in a complete unique family, unique species. It's the only species in the family, which just shows how unique this fish actually is. Now, this fish is native to Southeast Asia, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, Cambodia, those sorts of areas. And it's going to be found in shallow, slow-moving, and very thickly vegetated waters. Ponds, backwaters, oxbows. This fish is not found in fast-moving waters. In fact, I think if they're in a fast water, they will die. Now, this is something that I would classify as a medium-sized fish. The kissing gourami can get much larger than some people think. In fact, the size even surprised me. Most of the time when you see kissing gouramis, you're thinking of like a 2-3 inch fish. But it turns out that kissing gouramis can grow up to 30 to 35 centimeters, which is 12 to 14 inches. I've seen them get around that 7-8 inch mark, and I thought that was their top end size. But turns out that around that 12 inch, 32 centimeter, that's not that uncommon or even that surprising from there, which is actually kind of interesting because even though this fish is incredibly popular in the aquarium trade, it is considered primarily a food fish. A lot of local cultures actually harvest kissing gourami for food fish. Makes sense. They're very numerous and they're very easy to catch. But that kind of did surprise me also that it was a food fish. Who knew? Now, if you can tell here, it has that deeply compressed body laterally. So, panfish, that sort of same body shape. It's a little bit longer and not quite as round, but it is definitely this deep compressed body shape. It's got these very long dorsal and long anal fins. Very, very long. And the front parts of them are going to be spiny. This isn't the best picture. But they have this long margin of soft rays at the bottom. Something that's interesting to note, gouramis have these very low set pectoral fins. A lot of people think think of fish having their pectoral fins up here. This one's very low set on the body, which is just a little interesting tidbit. It's got this rounded to slightly concave caudal fin. I've seen them both. I don't know exactly which one. I believe this one's more common, but I've definitely seen it rounded off. And something else interesting to note, they actually have a divided lateral line system. So they have the lateral line across the top, then it's completely separate. Then you'll have another lateral line going this way that's completely divided from the upper one, which is really neat. That's actually a very good diagnostic characteristic of fish. And you're going to have two sort of color patterns that are observed. You're going to have kind of this greenish silver, which has these spots that are arranged in stripes. That's kind of like your wild form, and that's important for a reason. There is a different color morph called the leucistic form, and that is going to be the pink to white body. Think albinism. It's still going to have like darker scales making stripes, but it is very, very pale. And this is actually incredibly popular in the aquarium trade. A lot of people like this albino kissing gourami. And I should also note, this is not necessarily a good, oh my goodness, what a picture. That's not necessarily a good color picture. Like, this would be a better one. Kind of silver screen with the spots. That's going to be more your wild type sort of color morph. But a lot of people like this. This might be the one instance in the world that I think that the leucistic form might be better looking than the wild type form. It's not much, but it definitely has a certain appeal to it. And I say that because it was generally assumed, and I actually assumed this as well, that there was two different forms just found in the wild. The leucistic form was actually naturally occurring, and while they're probably going to have some leucistic individuals, the process of selective breeding is what made them so prevalent in the aquarium trade. Now, obviously, it's kind of staring at you in the face. The most noticeable feature of the kissing gourami is actually the mouth. And you can see it here. This mouth is where it got its name. It throws them lips out. They're puckered up, very much like a kiss. That's not the only reason they're called that, but it's a dang good characteristic. You see that. It's very protrusible. They have most gourami actually have an upturned mouth. The kissing gourami actually has a terminal mouth that is very highly protrusible, as you can see here. And the reason for that is that allows them to sort of multiple reasons, but it's highly protrusible. And you can see here, if you look closely, there's actually a bunch of teeth that actually line the lips. And if I'm correct, and I'm pretty sure I'm correct, they don't have any teeth really farther back. They definitely have some pharyngeal teeth, but I bet that they don't have any teeth sort of back here, which would make sense because they really don't have jaws. I mean, that is it for them. And the reason for these lips are multitudes and very, very important. Kissing gouramis have a very omnivorous diet. They feed on a ton of different foods: algae, plants, insects, small crustaceans. But they kind of get to where many other places don't, and can get it from places that many other fish can't. So they'll actually kind of get up and scrape algae off of hard substrates, hard surfaces, rocks, and all there, and they'll use that to sort of scrape the algae from the stones and other surface. And not only that, they'll use that protrusible mouth to get into cracks and crevices that many other fish can't get to. And we'll kind of talk about that in just a second. But the first thing I want to do is actually talk about the reproduction. These are an ovoviviparous species with very, very quickly developing eggs. It was so quick that I almost made this the interesting fact of the video. The eggs actually hatch only after 1 day. So they get laid, they're fertilized, and they're only there for a day. And then the fry are swimming 2 days after that. So in the process of 3 days, an egg gets birthed, and then 3 days later, you have free swimming larval fish. That's very, very, very quick. But now, for the interesting fact we're going to end the video on is actually about the mouth. I cannot stress this enough. Its mouth is so unique. And the reason for that is it actually has an extra joint in its jaw. It has what's called the intramandibular joint. It divides the jaw into two completely independent elements, which allows it so many degrees of freedom that it can just actually that's how it can get its lips, turning and getting in these tiny cracks and crevices without expending the energy that a lot of other fish do by actually turning the stone over. It's really, really bizarre, and it gets into things that the entire way that it does this and how its jaw works is actually still being studied to this day. It's totally bizarre, but feeding is not the only way that it can do that. The kissing gourami actually exhibits another kind of behavior that it uses its lip for. They kiss. They actually kiss. And they also use their lips for communication. They'll grind their teeth together, basically, and it turns out that that's actually communication. But this kissing motion is more than likely where it actually got its name from. Now, there is a world of debate on what this is. And I'm going to tell you what I think it is and what most of the evidence seems to point to. That this is not a, hey, how are you doing? This is a, we're fighting. This is basically the kissing gourami equivalent of two rams butting their horns together. It seems to be that it's almost an aggressive display and a territorial display, and it really seems to happen much more in breeding. And the reason for this is not everyone can, it's damn near impossible to determine male and female sexes for this, so it's assumed that these might be males. It's really, really difficult. And so that kissing motion is where it's got its name from, but that's not why they're kissing. They are kissing because they are basically fighting each other. That is an interesting fact that not many people know about, so I hope it was interesting for you. Thank you guys so much again. I really appreciate it. Hope to see you again. If I don't, please be safe. Have a great day. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you do, I'd really appreciate it. Hope to see you again. If you'd like to support the channel, please click the link down below, but it is by no means expected, but very much appreciated. Regardless, take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones. Happy Valentine's Day. Should have said this at the start of the video, and peace.